morning to you. Welcome to a Wednesday. It is the 21st day of October for 2020. And as it says right there on the screen, I'm Dan Gresham, and this is Dan's At Home Update because Dan is at home today. In fact, I am sitting in the middle of my studio this morning, which is an art studio, a broadcast studio. It is a multi-studio this morning. Reading your comments already. I love folks who jump on early. You know, some folks will wait until we're going full steam before they weigh in on what's happening in their lives, and you're welcome to do that right now, as a matter of fact, here on our Facebook page. All you got to do is post up there at the bottom of the screen. You can tell us what's going on. You can tell us, what's happening in your life. You can have quite a question, a comment, something you want to talk about this morning, throw it up there, and we'll see if we can get around to it. But I love people that pop on early because they're always got something to say. Marie Jackson up with us this morning. Let me get rid of some of the things so that you can see what Marie is saying. There she is. Good morning. Hi, Marie. Chase On is with us this morning. Janetta is here. Mary Walford having a cup of coffee. Margaret Sanders, David Peru. David says he's loving this winter weather. Yeah, it is definitely not winter weather. You're right about that. It feels much more like, say, I don't know, August or at least early September. Carlene, good morning to you. Janice is up with us this morning. Terry Williams is here. Anita Whitfield. Pastor Ray, good morning to you, sir. Glad that you're up with us this morning. Hi, Tanya. It's so fun to read all these because it's kind of like, I read somebody says, first cup of coffee or good morning, time for coffee. And I was thinking, I've had about 8 cups already this morning. There's no more coffee in Dan's world. Not today. I can't. I cannot do that anymore. I can't do it to myself. But you indulge because there's a very good chance your day is just getting started. Mine started, what time is it? Mine started about 8 hours ago. So, yeah, I've had more than enough so far this morning. I think I'll take a pass. I'm not going to keep you a long time today because I know you have things to do on this Wednesday. I've got things I've got to do, other meetings that I have to go to. But I do want to get you a look at what's going on in your headlines. So we'll start things off this morning. Sorry for all the motorcycle stuff. You know how when you do any kind of search on Google, it always brings up the one thing you search for. And I admit, I like riding motorcycles. I'm a motorcycle guy. But so I look at one thing, and then it dominates every ad, for the rest of your life. It is also kind of freaky. Is it just me, or is it sometimes I'm pretty sure our phones are listening to us? You don't even go to the website to look for something, and then the next time you get on your phone, what you were talking about shows up. Does that happen to you? Am I the only person that happens to? I don't think so. My contention is those microphones are on and they're listening to us. And then every time, oh, he's thinking about buying a new pair of shoes. Let's load him up, put all the shoes on there so that he can, be confused about everything, all that are out there. All right. So Sheila Bird LaRue says, I'm not alone. It happens to her as well. Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't some kind of conspiracy going on. Only happened on certain phones, but not everybody's phone. All right, so let's get back to it. Again, just look past the motorcycle ad on the right-hand side there. And we'll look at what's going on. Jefferson County this morning will go back into the courtroom for the first time since the pandemic started. They are now doing jury trials. And it's very interesting. If you have not seen this story, this is not pre-pandemic stuff. This is a whole new world. Look at all the plexiglass in the courtroom. You see it all there. They had all of the seats marked off, so you couldn't sit. You had to sit in every other one. You have to wear a mask. But listen, court trials are open to the public. If you wanted to walk in and watch a trial, and not all of them are high profile, some of them are, misdemeanor trials almost, or trials for somebody that, minor offense. You can walk in. Anybody can walk in and sit in the courtroom and watch the proceedings. They're public. So to make sure that continued to happen, because the idea ensuring that the public knows so that the public, has an understanding of what's going on and an oversight to some degree to make sure that things are happening correctly, you can now watch on YouTube. If you go to Jefferson County, you can find it. They have a YouTube channel that's set aside for court proceedings. You would probably fall asleep pretty quick watching some of them because, contrary to what you may believe, if all you do is watch television and Perry Mason or any of the new courtroom dramas, it's just not that way in real life. And I think most of my friends who are lawyers would tell you the same thing. The theatrics that you see in every courtroom scene, somebody bursting through the doors with the last piece of evidence that will save a life. Just doesn't happen that often in real life. I'm sure it does or has, but it's just not a common occurrence. Most of the time, it's pretty much trudgingly they go along, right? So that you can watch what's happening. But anyway, it's interesting to know that they are back in the courtroom now, and they are saying they will get into some of the capital cases a little bit later. They're not there now, but they will eventually get to that point. Also, in our stories this morning, Total confirming that they did have a chemical release. I think you can probably see it pretty clearly in this photograph sent to KFDM News by a viewer. And you can certainly see the color and the coloration there. And Total sounded the alarm there at the plant twice, 9 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. And a spokesperson said it was primarily water vapors with sulfur and carbon compounds. The refinery says they did take action to try to stop the release, and there was an odor detected. And I'm sure there will be further investigation into that. Also this morning, talking about stories I think would probably be of interest to a lot of folks, is the story here of horse racing in Jefferson County. If you don't remember, see, I told you, look at that. There's another commercial. I should be they should send me one of those or something for being on our broadcast this morning, on our live stream. I'm just kidding. But the Renaissance Development Group wants to bring horse racing to Ford Park. You know that if you've been following this. The problem is they make a bid, but the county says, oh, well, we forgot to have the property evaluated. We have to go back and get an evaluation for, what's this property worth, which is something that should have been done before they ever started the bid process, and the county admits that. Now the question becomes whether or not this group, the Renaissance Group, after being turned down for a $22 million bid, will come back and make another bid, because the county says the fair market appraisal for Ford Park is $43 million. So they sent out bids again. Everybody can bid again, but we're looking for a $30 million minimum offer, the county said. We checked yesterday, and so far, no bids have been submitted. Now, maybe everybody's waiting to the last moment, which is 11 a.m. on November the 6th. Or maybe nobody except for this Renaissance Group is actually interested in Ford Park. I guess we'll find out on that day when all the bids are due in. But again, voters approved horse racing in Jefferson County, and it can happen, and it doesn't have to happen at Ford Park. These development companies can go other places. Obviously, their interest in going to Ford Park is it's already got built-out infrastructure. They will not be keeping. You can't race horses inside an empty amphitheater. It's just not big enough to be able to do that. But when I say infrastructure, you already have roads going in. You already have water to the facility. You already have sewer. You already have a big building that I'm sure they can incorporate somehow. I don't know what their plans are. I've never seen them. But I'm just saying that's their interest is, hey, it's already here. There's something built out. We don't have to build it. That would save them a lot of money doing that. Also this morning, voter registration, of course, is long gone. But you can still vote by mail-in ballot. You have a couple of more days to be able to do that, but the deadline is coming up. One other story this morning, a local story I wanted to show you, and that's this. The story out of, make sure I got it up there, the Groves church bells. If you haven't seen this, Grove City prosecutor rejecting a complaint filed against First United Methodist Church of Groves from a citizen who said, hey, those church bells that go off every single day in my neighborhood are too loud. And now the municipal court saying they've dismissed the case. The citizen filed the complaint last week, and they go off 4 times a day. It's not like he's mad because he has to hear them once in the morning. They're going off all day. So now on October the 26th, they're going to have a council meeting, and they're urging people to show up to speak to whether or not the church should continue doing that. All right. So remember, you can check on the headlines there. You can also check on the KFDM Facebook page that you're on right now. We update those stories continually. Also this morning, I promised yesterday, I wanted to show you, if you don't remember, if you're suddenly concerned about the uptick in coronavirus cases in the state of Texas, this is a great place to go. It is brought to you by the folks at the Texas Health and Welfare. And I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I was trying to get the computer to work correctly. But anyway, you can go in, you can look at all the different counties, find out how your county stacks up against other counties. But you can also go in and look at hospitalization numbers. And from the beginning, it has been my suggestion that if we want a barometer as to where we may be in trouble, this is probably it, where you can see hospitalizations so that you can go in and go, okay, so where are we, as far as beds, where are we originally? So here we are statewide, and I think it's worth noting, when we were at our peak in the state of Texas, you come back to right there, 722, we had 10,000 people in the hospital. Now, you go back to the beginning when we started tracking things, you had 827. Well, you see the steady decline was going on, going down, going down, going down. Then all of a sudden, you get into October and we've seen a bit of an increase. Now, we have seen a rise. We're at 4,500, but that's a long way from 10,000. All right, a long way from 10,000. So I'm just saying this is something to keep your eye on if you really want a good barometer on what's going on. Plus, I thought this was an interesting story. Texas booming with best places to retire, according to U.S. News. They had a list of best places to retire. Houston was number 22. Dallas was number 17. 150 metropolitan areas from 3,000 respondents, 45 and older. Like I said, Dallas was number 17, Houston was number 22, San Antonio number 24, then you can keep going, Austin 29, El Paso 31, and you can go and look. You can look at them all. Beaumont, by the way, was number 85 places to retire. So I'm just saying. And then one last story, light story to get you out the door this morning. This is from USA Today. Finally, an electric vehicle that might be worth looking at if only it weren't for the price. Yep, Hummer is back. General Motors is bringing the Hummer back, but it's an all-electric pickup called the Hummer EV Edition 1. And the only problem with this, like I said, is it looks cool. It's probably pretty neat. But, you're talking to a pretty small audience when the price tag is $100,000. In fact, look, the starting price, $112,595. Oh, but it includes destination charges. But here's the promise from GM. They say the more we build of these, the price will come down. It's like that time that you bought that 75-inch television before 75-inch televisions were the thing, and you paid, $3,000 for it, and today a guy's buying it for $800. Same is true with automobiles. So they're saying, hopefully, by spring of 2024, you can buy it for a mere $79,000. But the reason I'm saying this is because I'm a big electric fan. I've driven a couple of them. I like the way they drive. I like the way they sound. But they're saying now that you'll be able to get 350 miles, 350 miles out of this vehicle in a single charge. That's significant. That's very significant because that's what's kept a lot of people. I love Tesla owners. I like talking to them. I've driven the Volt. Very cool car. But again, the problem being not on day to day. Because when I'm driving around town, one charge will last me all day. I'm not going to drive 90 miles in a day in the course of my average day. But when I want to go out of town, I want to go further than 90 miles before I have to stop and charge it. Or even 150. And you're talking about 350 miles with that vehicle, and I think you piqued a lot of people's interest. Now just get the price down to where we can actually afford to buy one, and then we can probably talk. Same thing is true. Technology, you saw the Zero motorcycle come up. It's an electric motorcycle. Interested in those, but the problem, again, you don't get too many miles in a charge, like 90. To be able to do it. All right, so that is pretty much it for us today. I appreciate your time as always. I remind you too that you can weigh in at Facebook. You can check us out on Twitter, Morning TV Dan, and of course on YouTube, Dan's at Home. That's our channel there. You can subscribe, and we post all of our updates to our YouTube channel as well. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor as always. Give us a thumbs up, a like if you enjoy the show, or maybe an angry face if you don't. That's okay too. It's just a way to know that you've been here, and we appreciate that. And no matter what you do, if I never see you here again, know that I valued your time for the day, the one time that you did stop by. I do appreciate it because, as I always say, time is the only real currency in this world as far as I'm concerned. And you invested some of yours in me, and I'm more than glad to invest a little bit of mine with you as well. All right, so go out and make it a good day. Reach out to somebody today. See what you can do to help somebody else. I learned something today I've never heard of before. Have you ever heard of being booed for Halloween? I kind of like this idea. People go around and they put like a goodie bag, onto somebody's doorstep and just leave it. Walk away. Don't say anything. They just leave it. And they say, you've been booed. Like, boo for Halloween. But it's just kind of that pay it forward thing to me. It's doing something without expecting anything in return. That's the real act and the real gesture of kindness, is when you don't do it because you're looking for something, in return. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. All right, so go out. Make it a great day. Look forward to see you. Stay safe, and we'll talk again bright and early tomorrow morning.